All right, here we go. We are now in. There we go. All right, so if you're just coming in, we're going to start up shortly. To our topic today is get to know the real matrix influencer. Hey, Demetrius, you're always the first on, man. You're like bang on.
Hey, how's it going?
All right. Um, Hello from London. Anywhere else? Where else we got people chiming in from? Let us know. Today's a really good topic. It's a super powerful one, truly transformative in many ways. So you're going to want to tune in and listen throughout. And I'll be giving a cool micro hack near the end of the session today. That if you do this one micro hack, it has the potential to transform any area of your life. I guarantee you it. I've done it for years with clients, and when they do it and they do it full heartedly, the magic that happens is absolutely mind blowing. So make sure you stick through today to understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and then we'll talk about the how to do it, so you can take it into your life and start to hack it. And really, we want you to become unstoppable. That's our intention, our goal. We want you, regardless of whatever's going on in the outside narrative of the planet. We want you to be so at the core, centered, grounded, and at your choice convergence point that you determine how much those things influence you and whether they do or not, right? And so that's our intention. And today's topic is a real key to getting to the source of all of that. All right. So let's see who we all got coming in here. Hey, what did that switch? I didn't switch that.
Pennsylvania. Hi,
No.
Cheryl.
Pennsylvania, nice. India, nice. Hello. And England,
And is that Dorta? Dorta
Georgia,
from Denmark?
nice. And Dubai, nice. Wow, we're all over
Wow.
the place this week.
Another global
Boulder,
show.
Colorado. I love Boulder. Um, Copenhagen, nice. And we got another Vancouverite I just saw there. Where's the Vancouverite? I just saw it. I saw someone was from Vancouver, but it scrolled up and I missed it. Oh, there we go. Sandy. Oh, Sandy, you're in Vancouver. I'm just outside Vancouver.
Oh,
Awesome.
thank.
Right.
So
Missouri.
Cheryl just sent us a little message. We spoke with her last week or the week before. She goes, and now I have 17 days sober. I know it's off topic, but I love you guys. So thank you, Cheryl. Congratulations. Keep
Awesome.
going. We
Awesome.
are here for you.
Hey, Cheryl, today is going to blow your mind. If you take the
Yeah.
concept of what we're doing today, um, it'll really shift so many things. And also remember to go back to, oh gosh, I can't remember which lesson it was where we talked about the six markers of transformation. That'll be a really good one for you to do, because there's some really essential stuff in that that'll support you. Anybody that has any kind of addiction, um, that talk can really drive home some powerful tools for you. So great. Seattle, Washington, Boston, Puerto Rico. All right. Hey, we got a party, a worldwide party going on. Awesome. All right. Do you want to get started there, Ross?
You bet. So we're so happy everybody's here. I'm telling you, it's been a week since our last show, and we've missed you. We really have. As I've always said, we respond and we look at the interaction that's on the website every single day, just about. And you guys are the ones that are feeding this. You're the ones that are making all of this happen, and we continue to grow and grow. I mean, the joiners, coming in. I mean, it's every single day, and it's give us a thumbs up. Just give us a thumbs up if you're just really enjoying not just the interaction of the live stream, but
Hearts.
also the
Give us all kinds of
interaction,
emojis. Just blast us with emojis.
anything. Just because it's the website is what keeps the momentum going, because everybody, I mean, there are some brilliant people out there that are even challenging some of the things that I know and Gary knows. Like, wow, I never thought about that. Let me look into this. Let me try and figure this out. So there's just, your guys are amazing. So
And,
if
listen,
this is your,
and let me just interject here, Russ. And the
sure,
craziness of what's going on in the world, and everybody's got their own craziness that's going on in the external world as we see it, as we're observing it.
right,
Um, in all of that, we want to be this place where you can come and feel that you've got some level of consistency and some level of getting back to self, and to go back out into the world, and to come from there. And you guys do that for us as well, because you keep us connected, and it's through the interaction that you guys give us that allows us to kind of continue to tap back into it even more. And so that, we want to kind of continue that cycle. So if you haven't already joined the group, and we're getting more and more people joining, which is awesome. I put the link in the message there, but it's also running down on the bottom here if you just see the ticker that's running by there. And that way we're going to be starting to put group specific content that's not for, it's
right,
going to be just for people that want to be really focused on experimenting how to hack the matrix. And so if you're not in that group, you're going to miss some of that stuff. So click the link, head over there. There's a few questions you need to answer to help us to understand the type of content you want us to put on there. And then you also get the opportunity to get on our VIP list, because the VIP list, we're going to have even extra things that just they're going to get, because we know they're people that are truly serious. They're not just kind of walking through the lab and checking it out.
right. And also, Gary, I mean, if somebody's out there and you're watching the video and you've put your request in and you haven't received something saying that you've been approved, that means that you probably missed something in those questions, and then the system just kind of kicks you off. It just drops the request. So if you've already done a request and you haven't received any confirmation, then just go back in and reapply. And be sure to do the questionnaires, because we're very serious about this. It's just Gary and I right now. We don't have virtual assistants or anything like that. So when you're seeing the answers that we're giving you and the posts that are on there, that's the two of us, because we want to be able to give you quality data, information, opinions, etc., and answers to a lot of your questions. And the questionnaires are our way of kind of sorting through and going, okay, this person is definitely serious about being in. So please, you're more than welcome. But if you haven't gotten on there, do it please, and it's easy. Just reapply. It'll fill out the form, and then boom, it'll automatically approve you. So we're good to go. So let's see, Gary. We didn't talk about this last night when we did our brainstorm. So let's see what some other people have been saying. So Gene says, today is my best, where I begin to understand what the infinity matrix is all about. And I love what you are doing to open the minds of so many. Thank you, Gene. Accessing the CCP, the choice convergence point, to find its meaning and to live a life of one's choice with deep happiness and real living in the moment. It's a true understanding. Thank you so much, Gene. We appreciate it. Pim says, this is a timely reminder to me to stay focused and not allow other energies to interfere with my. And we've seen some of you are starting to really notice a lot of the cultural differences, and that's the interaction that we're starting to see on the group page, which is awesome, because you're understanding that everybody has a different perception, and a lot of those perceptions are cultural, because we've all been raised differently. And that's what makes it really so cool, is because now you're kind of seeing things from different people's their perspectives. And always keep this in mind. We are one people, and now you're finally becoming aware. And we really, I see this happening every single day. Somebody's having that aha moment. It's like, oh, I didn't quite see it that way. That's really, really cool. Okay. So thank you again. It just warms both of our hearts. It's fantastic. So let's get on with it. So the first thing I want everybody to do, I want you to look down. I want you, don't tell me, but you can if you want. Tell me what color your shirt or your blouse is. What color is your shirt or blouse? After hearing that question, what were you thinking about? The obvious answer is the color of your clothes. Through this exercise may seem, although this exercise may seem ordinary, it has profound implications. The question momentarily, pay attention, write this down. That question momentarily hijacked your thought process and focused it entirely on your clothes. You didn't consciously tell your brain to think about that, it just did it automatically. That's how questions are so powerful. In the last few days, you've been seeing some posts that we've been putting up about questions because this is going to be the key that we've been talking about. So, not only does hearing a question affect what our brains do in that instance, it can also shape our future behavior. And that can be a powerful principle for your life. So, when your brain is thinking about the answer to a question, it can't contemplate anything else. So, research in neuroscience has found that the human brain can only think about one idea at a time. So, when you ask somebody a question, you force their minds to consider only your question. So, research is showing that multitasking is a myth. And I've been saying this for years. We are biologically incapable of processing attention rich inputs simultaneously. Okay. So when you see somebody, doing numerous things at one time, they're not doing numerous things at one time. They're doing one at a time, but relatively quickly. So likewise, so human beings consciously operate largely in serial fashion. That means that the more demanding the task, the more we are single-mindedly. We become ultra focused on it. Behavioral scientists have also found that just asking people about their future decisions significantly influences those decisions, a phenomenon known as mirror measurement effect. So, there was a study of more than 40,000 people, and it revealed that simply asking somebody if people were going to purchase a new car within 6 months increased their purchase rates by 35%. Okay? Now, this goes back also to when we were talking about narratives on how narratives and how things you see around you actually do have more of an impact on you. Okay, because we're not the only ones that know this. This is all research that everybody, your advertising companies, your your politicians, everyone has access to the information so they know. So, how many of you people see where I'm going with this? Give me a yes or no below. Just type in a yes or a no. Do you understand where I'm going? Okay, so thank you. Thank you. So, in a study from the Journal of Applied Psychology, asking citizens whether they were going to vote in an upcoming election increased the likelihood that they will by 25%. Yet another study, this one from 2008, researchers found that asking one about its intention to give blood raised donation rates by a modestly 8.6%. Hmm. Elections 25, donations 8.6. We'll get to that later. The same effect has been found in studies involving computer sales, exercise frequency, health decisions. In each case, all the behaviors can be increased just by asking them about it. So, why do questions have such an influence on the decision making process? Mostly because they prompt the brain to contemplate a behavior, which increases the probability that it will be acted upon. Now, you know where I'm going? This is similar to what we talked about in 2 live streams ago when we were talking about the RAS, the reticular activating system. Remember when we were talking about that, where it will become hyper focused on different things that you tell it to become focused on? Okay, this is one of the ways of activating the system, asking it a question. The trick, and this is what Gary's going to get into later, is how to really make it work for you. So anyhow, decades and decades of research has found that the more the brain contemplates behavior, the more likely it is that we will engage in it. And that's not all. So just thinking about doing something can shift your perception and even alter your body's chemistry. Where have we heard this one before? So, for instance, imagine sipping some lemon juice. Everybody, right now, I just want you to imagine sipping lemon juice. What does it taste like? As you briefly think about that lemon juice and that flavor in your mouth, do you notice anything changing in your mouth? I'll give you just a couple seconds. You should find that now all of a sudden you're getting that little bit tartness, and you're actually, the saliva in your mouth is building up a little bit. Amazing. Okay. So what we want to offer you is a way to use this principle in the workplace or to advance your career or your life, and that'll just jettison your consciousness to the next level. So just thinking about doing something can shift your perception and even alter that chemistry. It's just a known fact. So are you guys ready to shift? Give me an emoji. Come on. Quick. So you can also use questions to gain an edge in conversations, negotiations. When scientists use functional magnetic resonance, MRIs, fMRIs, they found that questions that ask participants to disclose their opinions increased neural activity in areas of the brain associated with reward and pleasure, because that's really what it's all about. Okay. As a result, the right questions won't just demonstrate your expertise, they can subtly make an interviewer more receptive to you as well. And that interviewer can be anybody, not necessarily if you're in an interview, but the person that you're talking to, you're engaging with. Okay. So questions are so ingrained in human communication that it's easy to underestimate their impact on our brains. Yet science has proven that they're an effective tool for strengthening connections between people and gaining influence. That's pretty useful. That influence can go in all different directions. So in a nutshell, this is what Gary's going to be talking with you through today. And is everybody excited for this?
All right. Yes, we got a lot of people that were getting their salivation going as you were talking about.
Okay, so what did you feel when I said, is everybody excited for this? Okay, do you see what I just did there?
Yeah.
That's one of the secrets.
Yeah, well, and I think that you're right that people underestimate it because we use it so regularly, or we don't use it enough in the right way. It's probably maybe, I think, a better statement. Well, ask yourself, how many questions do you ask in a day? Right? If you think about studies that have shown that kids between age of 2 and 5 ask, on average, about 40,000 questions. Right? That's a lot of questions at that age. Why is it that as a human condition, that bracket of time, we're asking so much? Well, at the age of 2, we start to improve our communication capacity. And as we've talked about in previous sessions, the way that we communicate is a major variable, and this is what Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about, is our communication is what creates the reality that we experience. Right? So between 2 and 5, the questions they're asking and the types of questions and the quantity it's our way as human beings of starting to sort out how we're going to play in this matrix. How do we understand it even more so that we can navigate through it? But then as you grow older and older and older, guess what? The quantity of questions start to go less, partly because we feel or think that we know it all, right? But if you're a true student of learning, you understand that the more you know you don't know, right? And so if you look at anybody that's in a growth realm, any kind of guru or anybody that you see out there that's really evolving and making an impact, it's because they're asking questions, right? But it's not just that they're asking questions, it's the quality of those questions. right? I learned a big lesson, huge lesson, when I was probably 21-ish, maybe even a little earlier than that, when I started to get into Tony Robbins stuff, Anthony Robbins. And one of the things he taught about was, doing a daily journal for questions that were empowering. And it's very simple, very easy thing to do, but very few people actually took that and really ran with it and really tested it out. Well, I decided to, because it clicked for me, right? And what it was is very simple. First, we got to start to look at what are the questions, what are the quality of questions you're looking at, you're saying to yourself right now, right? Because there's questions we give out to people and have, can influence in some way their focus and stuff like that out there. But what I'm more interested in talking about today is, what are the questions you're asking internally or allowing internally? Because that will determine your point of view, right? And your point of view is your perception of reality. Okay? So what I understood after really playing with it and testing this out and working with myself as well as with clients over the years is that when you ask a question, your unconscious mind and your conscious mind to some degree have no choice. It's just ingrained, like Ross said, it's ingrained in who we are in our DNA, has no choice but to actively go out on a search for an answer to that question. Now, here's the thing I realized over years. The answer doesn't always necessarily have to be the right answer, right? And it doesn't always have to be a positive answer, right? It's just on a search, because there's this need to kind of have it, again, like as a 2 to 5 year old, it needs to find out, where does this fit? How does it fit in the puzzle of reality that I'm experiencing? Right. So when you ask that question, it's kind of it is kind of like a micro hack, where you're momentarily telling the brain to say, hey, whatever you're doing right now in this moment, I want you to put some attention on that. And if I don't get an answer right away, your mind will still continue to ask that question until it finds until it finds an answer, right? But if we, and this is why when a kid's, between 2 and 5, they're always, it's the why, right? It's the why cycle. Well, why is that? Well, why is that? Why is that? Because they're in that cycle of wanting to understand, right? But as we grow older, we stop that cycle, or we shorten that cycle, because we get busy, we get distracted, we've got other things that rise to priority. But your mind still does ask those, and unanswered questions in the mind are still lingering, and they're just kind of dancing around there, waiting for something to latch onto. And again, it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be right. It doesn't have to be empowering. It just has to feel that it's enough to latch on to say that, okay, I'm satisfied with that answer. Right?
That's another reason why when you answer your kids because I said so, they keep asking.
Yeah.
They're not satisfied. They're kids, but they're like, that's not an answer.
The part of their brain goes, well, hold on, that doesn't fit into that. I can't fit that into this puzzle of reality.
Right.
Right. And so, if we get back to this asking more questions, adults ask an average, and this is an inquisitive adult, about 100 questions a day. Right now, the problem is most of those questions are going to be the same questions every single day. Right. And so therefore, you're stuck in a loop of creating the same reality over and over. Well, the way to change your reality, the way to hack the matrix, is start to look at asking different questions that are empowering, questions that are moving in the direction of what you prefer as a reality, as opposed to the reality that you're not enjoying or experiencing. Okay. And so here's what happens when you ask a question. Let's say, let's give it some real life experience. So let's put in a scenario of someone who's, having a hard time financially with life. Okay. If we think about what's going on for them to continue to recreate that reality, right? There are internal questions that are going on, or external questions that are being imposed into them in a way that keeps that reality occurring. Something to the impact of, why am I always broke, right? Why don't I ever get a lucky break? Those are the types of questions they're asking, right? And because they're asking those types of questions, then their mind actively searches out in the matrix to give them answers for why they're broke, for why they're not having good luck. And so it reaffirms that question, and they get more of that, right? When the intention, I believe, when they're asking that question is they want to get out of the problem or situation, right? So the better question, the more empowering question is, what can I do to save money? What can I do to make money? What can I do to thrive? What can I do to increase my luck? When you're asking those questions, the mind then goes out, actively searches, and gives you a different set of answers. So if we take the first scenario, and an unnamed person, because I don't want to lock anybody into this, right? So an unnamed person is out there and they're having hard times, and they, in one reality, right, they're asking, well, why is nothing ever working out for me? Why does everything I do always fail? Those kinds of questions, right? Their mind is going to actively go out, your unconscious mind is going to actively go out and search for answers and give them a laundry list of reasons why that happened and continues to happen. So then it goes, oh yeah, okay, then that's why. Oh yeah, that's why. Oh yeah, that's why. And then they'll, why is it? And that cycle continues to reinforce that reality. Now we take that same person and pop them over into a different reality with a different set of questions that says, what can I do to increase my income? What can I do to increase my opportunities for abundance? If you think, and then so their mind now goes out and gives them a laundry list of answers. If you put those two lists together, are you going to get different answers and different possibilities, different solutions, different outcomes, different actions? 100%. Absolutely 100%. Okay. Now, the key is not just asking once, because then, because your mind is going to say, okay, I'm curious about it, but not invested in it, right? It's doing it over and over and over until you get the type of reality that you want, right? So it's both of those realities. They would have to consistently be doing those questions or those types of questions for that reality to manifest for them, right? So now we do some introreflection on ourselves. Think about where you are in your life, what you're happy with, what you're not happy with. And the things that you're happy with, start to think about, what are the types of questions that I ask for that to be my reality? How do I question that experience so that experience continues to show up the way that I want it to? And the areas that you're not, start to look at and reflect in, what are the questions you're asking for that to happen? And look at the laundry list of answers you're getting for both of those. Right? And so if you were to take the area where you're doing really well and happy with and excited about, and even add more empowering questions to that, guess what? That continues to grow as well. And if you were to take the one that's not the way you want it, and the reality that you don't want to experience the way you want it to, and you start to shift the questions around that to ones of more that are empowering and towards the direction of what you prefer instead of what you don't prefer, and it is a skill, it is an art, it is practice, then that will start to transform. Right? So here's your hack, okay? And it's a simple hack, but what if on a daily basis we took one area of your life? Actually, let's do that. Let's pick an area of your life that you want to start to focus on improving and getting better, whether it's your health, your finances, your relationship, whatever it is, an area of your life that you want to see an improvement in. Let's do this real life hack. And then you guys can report, okay? And I want you to jot down what that area of your life is as I continue to talk about this, right? So whatever area of your life that's not the way that you want, I want you to jot it down so we can really do a real life hack and an experiment to see what the difference is in 1 week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks from now. Okay. I was talking to my 17-year-old daughter the other day, and we were just having a conversation about reality and things like that. And one of the things I told her about is, well, you got to experiment. You got to experiment what works for you and what your reality is going to show up as for you, because everybody's got a slightly different formula and how that's going to happen. And I said, well, and for example, I don't know if anyone here has seen the movie What the Bleep, right? What the Bleep Do We Know? In the movie What the Bleep, one of the experiments that I thought was was really good. Oops, just trying to share some of this in the meantime while I talk here. One of the experiments that I found really good was the rice in the glass experiment, right? Where you put the cup of rice with water in one experiment, and then you label it. So that's really essentially, imprinting something on it. And then one was labeled hate and one was labeled love, right? And then you see over a period of time what the difference was in how the water and the rice reacted to the labeling, right? Which is a topic we'll get to in another stream. And over time, that experiment was something that you could see as, hey, there was a real shift and change. Wow, right? So that's what I want to create here as an experiment, where you go ahead and let us know what's the cup or the glass that we want to transform, okay, over the next little bit. All right, so we got some good ones coming in: business coaching, finances, money, health. Yeah, so we got relationships. So there's all kinds of different areas of your life that you can focus on, right? Okay, so now you've got that. Here's what we're going to do. I want you to think about, I'm going to give you just something. I want to give you something that's doable, all right? I want you to think about 2 empowering questions. So, for example, I want you to say, what am I happy about in my blank? So my finances, my relationships, my money, my work, my health, my fitness, whatever it is, my career. What am I happy about in my blank right now? Right? What in that area of my life am I happy about? I want you to ask that question. That's question number 1. Question number 2, which, in different ways you've heard, Dr. Bruce and others really kind of bring to light that it's something we need to, that can shift your life. Second question is, what am I grateful about in that area, blank, in whatever that area of my life? So what am I grateful about in my relationship right now? Right? And again, want to bring it to the now, because one thought at a time, one is all we can control, right? So what am I grateful about in my life right now? Right, whatever that area of your life is. Okay, so what am I happy about in my sobriety? Good, right? Good. And what am I happy about in my living my dream of my life? And what am I happy about in my relationship with my daughters, or my wife, or my grandson, or whatever, right? What am I grateful about in those areas? And ask that question. Now, here's the thing I want you to do. Those are 2 questions I'm giving you, right? You should ask more, add more, and we'll talk about those in future, lessons and stuff. But just pick those 2. What am I happy about? What am I grateful about? Okay. And do this experiment for the next 3 weeks, 21 days. Okay, where every day you take just those 2 questions, and then in your journal, I want you to start a journal of some kind, right? Whether it's digital or whether it's handwritten. I would suggest handwritten, because there's a different power in writing something down than there is verbalizing it. And so you can verbalize and write it, would be my suggestion for those that really wanted to take this to the next level. And I want you to take those 2 questions, and every night before you go to bed, take that journal, and I want you to write at least 1 answer to each of those questions. Okay? Simple task. What am I happy about in my life right now, or whatever the area of your life is? And what am I grateful about in that area of my life right now? 2 things. write an answer down every single day. If you can do 3 or 4 answers, would be even better. Just start with one if they feel that that's a stretch. Here's the cool thing. Okay, 21 days. All right. If all you did was every night ask the question and you couldn't come up with an answer, because at some point you're going to start to get duplicates, right? I said that yesterday, or I said that a couple of days ago. I get it, because you're not used to this yet. It's okay. And when it happens, you're going to, oh yeah, Gary said that's going to happen. Hey, I'm not my first rodeo. I've done it with thousands and thousands of people. Okay. So what am I happy about my life? What am I grateful about? When you ask those every night, there's going to come a point where, or a day where it's just the day just didn't present, in your opinion, didn't present anything to answer for that particular thing. Ask the question anyways. Contemplate it. If nothing comes up, honor that. Here's the cool thing. If you write it down and, what am I happy about my life? And then you expect to put an answer, but you don't answer for the next 24 hours, guess what your mind is going to do? For the next 24 hours, your mind is going to actively searching for things, because it knows you're going to ask the question again. Right? It knows that you're going to be that 2 to 5 year old asking, well, why? Come on, give me an answer. It knows it, right? So it's going to actively search for something about that area for you to be happy about to report. And if it doesn't happen the next day, it'll happen if you keep asking, eventually it'll start to get a momentum, and then it'll start another momentum of they're just 2 or 3 is not enough. You're going to be writing a whole page full of stuff that you're grateful about, a whole page full of things that you're happy about in that area of your life. But you've got to build that momentum. You've got to shift it. Okay? So your mind will actively search. Now, again, it doesn't matter if the answer is right or wrong, but it's how you ask the question. And you'll see that because we're asking the questions that are geared towards finding things that you're happy about and geared things you're grateful about, that's what the focus will be, right? And it is going to take a little practice for some of you. Some of you find it a little easier because you may have been already in the gratitude mindset and practice. But this is an active experiment. Do this for any area of your life. And, I've done it with clients over the years, and I don't care what the problem is or the area of your life that you're not having, or how deep in the darkness that you are with it. I guarantee you, if you ask empowering questions on a daily basis with the intention of answering them, in 30 days, that area of your life will absolutely transform. You will see the matrix meld and shift to a reality that you never before knew was possible. Okay? So, so, a gratitude journal, Demetrius is saying gratitude journal. Yeah, it's not just gratitude, though. I want you to have it. It's an empowering questions. Right? So it's an empowering mentality. I call it the question concept, right? Where what I do is, and in a full-blown lesson, I would go through 10 different empowering questions that you could ask on a regular basis, and you do them every day. So you spend a designated focused time on those questions for a particular area of your life until you start to see a transformation. When you see that transformation, the momentum has shifted. You've done enough hacking that the program of the matrix has learned what you need to experience. Okay. All right. So let's go through some of the questions here. So I noticed Gabriel said this for me some reason. Difficult for me. Okay. So in the difficulty of that, you got to ask, what's the question? Maybe you're asking, why is this difficult? So instead of that, say, okay, what can I do to make this easier? How can I find things that I'm happy about? How can I find things that I'm grateful about? It's just a shift, right? It's just a slight shift that's going to make a biggest difference.
Yeah. And the more you narrow that question down, if you're really having difficulties with it, then just say, what is one thing that I can do? Instead of how is the brain takes how as a huge, like, oh, it's out there, or it's way out there. or why is way, way out there. It's like, what is one thing that I can do to shift? Then when that starts to be a little easier, then it's like, what are two things that I can do? What are three things that I do? And then the momentum, as Gary says, will just start to build and build and build. It's how Gary's spot on is how you ask that question.
Yeah. And so it I'm telling you, if you and so another reason you might, if you're finding challenges with it, is because you're not used to or conditioned to doing that. Just ask the question. Don't put any pressure on yourself. If you're finding it difficult, just please implore you, just ask the question until stuff starts to arise. Don't force it. I'm not asking you to force anything, because if you force a hack, it will crumble around you and won't be long lasting. Right? So it needs to be something that you do in a way that the system, the matrix system out there, doesn't even know it's happening, and it just transforms. That's why it's a hack, right? So by you doing this simple question, asking it every day, writing it down, trust me with this, for 21 to 30 days, you do this exercise and report to us as you start to notice things. Jump back to this lesson and let us
Right.
know. Right. And I mean, I've heard some miraculous stuff happen over the years when you do this. Right. And it's a true testament that we have the ability and the power to create the reality we want. And the way that we influence, and this is the real matrix influencer, the way that we influence the matrix is to ask those questions that are empowering and towards what we want as opposed to what we don't want. Yes, it takes some skill. If you have challenges, write them out in the in the messages area, in the comment section. We'll get back to you and give you some suggestions, some ideas, and start to help you to kind of get better and build that muscle, if you will, that skill set.
So Gary, Angela's asking, so does it change perception or both perception and reality?
Yes.
Next.
Because one has to shift before the other, right? So
Correct.
when your perception shifts, then your reality will then start to open up, and the more you do, you're consistent with that, then the reality becomes a consistent reality. It's not something that's by fluke. Remember, we talked about patterns a few sessions ago. What you're going to start to do is, in the matrix, you're going to start to create a pattern of searching for and having gratitude, a pattern and searching for and having happiness in that area of your life. Right. And this is only 2 of the 10 that we go through when we teach the
Right.
full thing. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So Angela's also asking, will this actually make a change in physical health?
Absolutely can, 100%. And
Can.
again, it's because we go back to the lessons that Bruce talks about is it's biology of your belief, right? So you're shifting when you start to do that. The biology, when you answer it and you start to find those different answers, the emotional structure of your body shifts. So therefore, your DNA and all the elements of who you are, internal matrix and external matrix, start to align to that, because you're coming from a choice convergence point of happiness, gratitude.
You can look as your chakras start to realign themselves, all the energy meridians going through your body start to realign themselves. Your body hangs on to a lot. And when you shift your perception, the body will start to release. And you'll have times, I've experienced that, where all of a sudden I'm just like, why am I feeling this way? It's my body just finally went, I'm letting go of this because I like this other stuff better. And I'm just going to let go of this. And you'll see that starting to happen. And, if you look at the research that Dr. Lipton has done, you look at the research that Dr. Dispenza has done, they all have proven that those emotions, that your body hangs on to these emotions and these traumas. And what 50% of both of their teachings is about is letting go. When you hear people say let go of it, that's true. That's why people who are under huge amounts of stress, you can physically see their body just over time just starting to kind of decay. And because they're hanging on to all of this, they don't have for the lack of a better term, they don't have the discipline to do these types of exercises to get it out. I've watched this many times with a lot of politicians. I mean, politics is hugely stressful, and there are some life and death decisions that these guys have to make, and gals, and and you can just see that they're just, you just watch them, and they're aging faster. They're, it's horrible. And then you see others that, wow, this guy looks like he's like freaking indestructible, because it doesn't see, you think that it doesn't affect him, but he doesn't allow it to affect him. He comes in, they have some sort of method, meditation, whatever the case may be, and they release that stress. The knowledge is still there, the event is still there, but they've gotten it out of their body. That's why exercise is, in my opinion, it's the number one. Get out there, go for a walk. And if you don't have the discipline to that, get a husky. They will give you no choice. But my wife and I, we take our dogs for a walk almost every single night, and it really helps. It just, it doesn't matter how sedentary you are. They're going to make you get out there, and then by the time you're finished with that hour walk, it's like, wow, I feel really good. I mean, I just feel lighter.
All right,
Yes,
so
that's
that's it. So, and if for those of you that stuck around right to the end here, which is awesome, really appreciate you guys hanging around. A couple things I want to mention. Number one is the way to plus this hack, right, to really accelerate it, is when you ask the question, "What am I happy about? What am I grateful about?" Right after that, right after you answer, whatever comes up for you, ask the next one more question. Why am I happy about it?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's, for those of you who stick around, this is a real gem here. Okay. So it's, what am I happy about? Answer that. What am I grateful about? Answer that. Now you go back to whatever that answer is and you say, well, why am I happy about that? And then answer that. This will take it even deeper. Okay. So yeah, so that's a good hack, and if you can just do it just at the nighttime, that's fine, or you can think about it throughout the day or whatever. But I want you to do it consistently every single day. So set a time just before bed, get your journal out, write it right before your bed, and as you dream, your mind is thinking about the right things, and when you wake up, your mind is starting off with the right, and then as you go through the day, your mind is thinking about the right things. And at the end of the day, you come back and you're confirming those things, and then you still go to bed. That cycle starts. Right? You start an infinity loop, right? Always coming back to the choice convergence point of gratitude and happiness. Okay. All right. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, if you're not on the group, get on there. What are you guys waiting for? We got some, I'm telling you, we got some amazing stuff ready for you guys that we've been preparing, and going to be really start soon, definitely in the new year. But even before that, we're going to start to seed some things in that are just group specific. If you're not on the VIP list, go back and refill out the information on the questions. And get on the VIP so you can get special announcements and notifications and things like that of when we're going to be doing live group specific and VIP specific stuff. I just posted the link in there again if you haven't gotten it, and jump in. Yeah, and I think that when you start to notice some things with these questions, please come back and share it here. If you haven't, if you can't find the stream, depending on where you're watching this, because we are streaming in a few different places, the easiest place to always get a replay is in the group. So facebook.com/groups/the Infinity Matrix. And then under the, once you become a member, you'll see the tabs on the top. There's one that says units. Click the units, and then under units, we just have them there, so you don't have to be scrolling through pages and pages of posts to try to find an episode. All right.
So just also, there will not be a live stream next week because of the holidays. So just to kind of let you know that don't expect that. But we are not going to be docile. We have got some crazy ideas that we're formulating right now. One of them that we're really excited about is we're actually going to, as you can see, if you're looking at the all the questions that come in. Obviously, we can't answer all those questions on this. This would be 3 hours long. But what we are going to do is we're going to take all of your questions that come from the live streams, and then Gary and I are going to do a separate stream video where we're actually answering all the individual questions, and then we're going to be posting that. And we're just trying to figure out the technical aspect of it and exactly how we want it to work. But you can see that coming in the near future. Some of the things that we have planned for 2021 are going to be really cool, really, really cool. And it's more of asking. That's what we do. We ask each other questions. What can we do to make this happen? What can we do to give this more oomph? What is one thing that we can do? That's all we're doing is we're going back and forth with just questions. I have an idea. Okay, great. What can we do to make that work? That's how we do it. And that's one of the tricks that or techniques that all of you should do with every single aspect of your life. Okay, if you see something that's constantly happening over and over again, you see a pattern where we talked about that 4 episodes ago, patterns. You start to see a pattern, and it's not a pattern you want. What's the one thing I can do to change this pattern? Your head knows, your mind knows, and if it doesn't know, it'll go out and find it for you. So with that, everybody have a great holiday this next week. And
for all you Americans, we had our Thanksgiving already last month, so it's all you Americans that are having yours this weekend.
Exactly. So if there's anything else we can do,
we get to enjoy the weather and observe all the craziness that's going on elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Really, yeah. Let them deal with their reality.
Yeah,
we have our own.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. Thank you so very much. It's been a pleasure once again. We'll miss you. Keep posting your questions and your comments here, and we will get to them probably by the end of the day. Once this show is over, I'm generally, Gary or myself are actually on the group page answering questions. Actually, it takes a couple of hours to go through all the questions and get them answered properly. And so keep asking your questions, and we will get to them. We promise.
And remember to share. I mean, for people, so you get more people in the circle of interest that are thinking the way and building a community, right? So remember to share it as well. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.